Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It's Thursday. We're so close to the weekend. Not quite there yet, though. The Packers having their final practice prior to the CBA mandated break over the weekend, where the players and the coaches and pretty much everyone are told to get away, refresh, reset, and then come back on the back end of the weekend and get ready for week one of the National Football League. How's that? I just cut a promo for you, NFL. You're welcome. The most kind of probably most interesting / concerning news out of practice today: Darnell Savage not participating. You don't love to see it at a position like safety where things are, let's just say, unsettled. Uh, you would think going into week one, Savage would be your starter across from most likely Rudy Ford, but who knows? Maybe we end up seeing Jonathan Owens and Anthony Johnson Jr. out there to open things up against the Bears. And I will say, I know there's been a lot of hand wringing at about the safety position this offseason, which I completely understand. But I will also say, as Brian Gutekunst and the Packers are resetting this roster, as they have from the Aaron Rodgers years to now the new Jordan Love era, going young, shedding veterans, etc., you're never going to be able to fill every hole in an offseason. We all know that. And the kind of throwing the darts approach at safety, probably they had undoubtedly hoped someone would rise to the fore. We've talked about that before, especially opposite Darnell. But from what we've seen, I would guess we are going to be up and down all year at the safety spot. And that's not necessarily an indictment of anybody. It's just a fact of you only have so many resources and you can only fill so many holes. And as I believe Brandy already quipped in the comments here, time for another first round safety. Wouldn't be a surprise if we got to next year's draft and the Packers were in the market for a safety. I know a lot of people had them earmarked for possibly taking a safety in this past spring's draft, but like I said, you can only fill so many holes at one time. And I think we are going to have to live with whatever we see on display at the safety spot throughout 2023. Less than optimal, no question about it. But hey, it's also a chance and an opportunity for a young guy like, say, Anthony Johnson Jr. to develop and go ahead and grab it and make something out of that position. Here's hoping he does that. Hey, and here's hoping Jonathan Owens does the same, and Ford kind of continues to grow in the scheme and become that much better from scrimmage. And all these things are possible. But yeah, there's no doubt if you want to pick out probably the weakest part of this roster, it's at safety. And we've seen way too many times in our collective memories here as Green Bay Packers fans where plays that should probably be, say, 5-6 yard gains rupture into 20-30 yard gains because of a missed tackle at the safety spot. More than anything else, I've said it all offseason, I got two requirements at safety this year in Green Bay. Be assignment sure, be a willing tackler. And if you can do those two things, you should stay on the field. So here we'll see. We'll see how it transpires here. Hopefully we get through this weekend and we get back and Savage is back out there and they've got their, I guess, regular starting tandem with Savage and Ford, and away they go. But it could literally go any which way. I still have no handle on how they're going to approach not only just the starters, but then the rotation when they go to some nickel looks and dime looks and things like that. You all know, you've seen the coverage and you've seen, undoubtedly read the articles. Savage, the better, the closer to the line of scrimmage he is, the better he gets. Traditionally, that's a slot role. And traditionally, like this past summer, we've seen Nixon man that for the most part when they're in their, well, you call it nickel, but it's really base in today's NFL. So are you putting Savage down there still? Is that going to happen in dime? Is he going to be having to deal with two-way goes from some of these shifty wide receivers? I don't know, man. I would say I'm fascinated to see how it plays out, but I'm actually kind of petrified to see how it plays out. But here's hoping, man. Here's hoping. Here they all rise to the occasion, and maybe the new kind of rules in the back end, some of the new coaches involved in the secondary helps iron a lot of that out. A lot of hope prior to week one. I want to give a quick shout out to our good friends over at Ticket King. People, you know you want to utilize Ticket King when wanting to see the Green Bay Packers play tackle football in 2023, just head to Cheesehead TV, go to our website or our app, find the schedule, and then utilize individualized links for each and every game, home or away, throughout the entire season. Use Ticket King, people. Don't use Ticketmaster, StubHub, or SeatGeek. None of these national companies. Use a company based in Wisconsin since the early 90s. Hell, you can use a link in the description of this video. Just utilize Ticket King when you want to watch the Green Bay Packers. Do it, folks. You know you want to. Hello to everybody in the comments. So good to see everybody. Thank you for sticking with me today after all my technical issues yesterday. Really sorry that I had to leave you guys hanging. I greatly appreciate your support and coming back, including Merkel here. Thanks for the super chat. Hey, Nags, that's no cap. Did Goody find Jordan Love on a fucking app? Look at this. We got people referencing Motel Men lyrics on super chats. This is an incredible development. I appreciate you, the support of the super chat, and I really appreciate you listening to Motel Men. Thanks, man. And I don't believe he found him on an app, but anything is possible. Doug, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. I'm just here to buy Nags a beer. P.S. The new Coon and Dusty show looks awesome. The new Coon and Dusty show, you say? I hear several of you out there asking, what, pray tell, is he talking about? Well, I'm glad you brought it up, Doug, because this fall, every week here at Cheesehead TV on the YouTube channel, we have a brand new show coming your way. Let's take a quick look.
One play in our offensive category is the power sweep, as we call it. Actual number of that play is 49, and the reciprocal of that is 28. 49, 28. It's the power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
How awesome is that? Can't beat it with a bat. And hey, major shout out to Tyler for putting that together. It's totally dope. Better than anything I would have ever done. And yes, I am absolutely thrilled. Been talking to John about something like this now for a little bit. He actually reached out to us about it. And we obviously here at Cheesehead TV, we're thrilled with the idea. And Dusty, if you guys have read any of his stuff over at cheeseheadtv.com or any of the places where he produces his content, including his YouTube channel, which you should all be subscribed to, just felt like a natural fit. Dusty and John will be breaking down the most important plays each and every week here on Cheesehead TV. Really, really hope you keep up with them all year because it's going to be a lot of fun. And Doug, again, thanks for the support, man. Really appreciate the super chat. Saul, thanks for the super chat, man. Packers might have to find more safety depth. You're not lying. I mean, they did just pick someone up off waivers from the Buffalo Bills via the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see if he's anything more than a special team stalwart, but I do not doubt for a moment that they will continue to scour both the waiver wire, free agency, possible trades, if things turn sour, so to speak, back there as the year goes on. Menace, thanks to the super chat, man. Keeper league, Nags, and I need that wisdom. Oh, really? A fantasy football question? Man, I suck at fantasy. I keep telling people I am the worst person to ask about anything fantasy related, but I'll give it a go. Would you keep Aaron Jones, Waddle, or Higgins? Just remember, I keep 33. You will have to listen to me complain about his touches and lack of goal line touches again this year. Menace, did you really come here to Cheesehead TV, devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide, and ask me if you should keep Aaron Jones or two other dudes? You know I'm going to say Aaron Jones. You know it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't matter. Of course you keep Aaron Jones. Do you carry the G or not? I mean, you asked for it, Menace. I appreciate the super chat, but my God, man, this is a no-brainer. If ever there was a question that fit the category no-brainer, that's a no-brainer. Come on, man. Rick, thanks for the super chat. Bears fans have gone from love will be bad to begrudgingly now calling him a game manager. Methinks they hear footsteps of a new owner. I like it. I like where you're headed there. I mean, you say that about the Bears fans. I got to admit, I don't really pay a ton of attention to all the squawking, either on the Bears side or from Packers fans, when it comes to, the back and forth. Every once in a while, it does land in my mentions, and sometimes I'll have a little fun with it. But I've tried to tune the Bears fans out, man, especially, after Adam Rank went on NFL Network and said they were going to win 12 games. What are we doing here? Why are we even paying attention to these people, folks? But yes, you are undoubtedly correct. Now that the narrative around Jordan Love has already started to form as, oh, this kid might be okay. Like, oh my gosh, it's not a total car wreck. Of course, they're going to have to change whatever kind of tune they're singing. Because before it was, mostly, oh, he's terrible. It was a wasted draft pick. He's going to suck. Well, early returns would suggest that that's not quite the case. So we shall see what tune they're singing after they take that L in week 1. Dennis, thanks for the super chat, man. After careful thought, I have decided the man we know only as Brandy's hubby is in the witness protection program. Hey, he was on Happy Hour this week. Always good to see him. Brandy, she's got stuff in order over there. I have little doubt. He's always a good sport. There's no doubt about that. Don't want to miss any other super chats. Oh my goodness, can't do that. Camille, what's up? More fire on the way for Cheesehead TV. Camille, you got your own fire coming up here on Cheesehead TV. That's right. Camille and I kicking off Carry the G and MKE next week, people. It's going to be a lot of fun. Jacob, thank you for the super chat, man. Can't wait to see what putting Barry in a box does for our defense this year. Look, whatever works, right? And hey, if that helps, let's do it. We'll see. I clipped the part from yesterday's chat for Twitter this morning. Like, I got to see it, man. Like, who knows? It could very well just be a continuation of the clown car we've seen for the last couple of years, or maybe it does make a true difference. I got to see it. You got to prove it. You got to show me. I'm not holding my breath. We'll see. Carl, thanks for the super chat. I get the sense that the eggshells have been removed from all the open areas at 1265. There's a palpable edge to LaFleur impressors. Love it. I'm very fascinated that, first of all, Carl, that you brought that up about LaFleur. The tone is different, right? And I'm not talking about that. There was definitely a day this summer where he was like a little edgier than usual, like in a bad mood. But outside of that day, I think he's been really professional in the media auditorium and with the media. But he's definitely got a different tone. And I don't know if I'd call it an edge, but it's just, there's more assuredness. There's certainly more kind of, I would say, a more relaxed tone. But again, yeah, with some command of the room. Like, there's a confidence there that it just didn't seem to be there in past seasons. So I'm fascinated to see how that kind of manifests throughout the season. No doubt about it. But I'm glad you said that, Carl, because I didn't want to just throw it out there. Like, has anyone else noticed this? Because it feels like, okay, maybe that's just my way of reading it, but I'm glad someone else is kind of validating what I've been seeing. It's like the tone is different. No doubt about it. Jason, thanks for the super chat, man. Is Wilson the first Green Bay running back to wear 31 since Jerry Ellis? You know who would probably have that is Dara from Packer Report. He's been tweeting out all sorts of Packer number history stuff. So if anyone knows, he does. I have no idea. Maybe, probably. I mean, I know it's been a very defensive back heavy number, but probably. What's up, Dylan? Nag's favorite Nelson and Sitton memory. Yeah, shout out to Jordy Nelson and Josh Sitton. Their induction into the Packers Hall of Fame is imminent. The Nelson, I was thinking about this today. For Jordy Nelson, as far as favorite memories, obviously there are a ton of big plays to choose from throughout his time in Green Bay. Several in the Super Bowl jump to mind. One of my all-time favorites is the slant against Darrelle Revis right before half against the Patriots that goes for a touchdown. That's an all-timer. And really, it's just the corner post that he and Rodgers just perfected over the years. It was almost unstoppable and completely changed the way defenses had to play the Packers. But there was always that moment in a game, usually around midfield, where Rodgers would play action and roll out, and sometimes with Sitton as the personal protector, kind of guiding the way. And the whole kind of stadium, and even if you were at home, you were kind of start getting up out of your sofa a little bit, and you just that anticipation of Rodgers going deep to Nelson and Nelson just inevitably being wide fucking open. I mean, it was unstoppable. They just would set it up and call it Mike would call it at the right time, and Jordy would just absolutely smoke guys in the secondary. That whole stretch was amazing, just amazing. You can't beat it. As far as Sitton goes, I just clearly he was a immense talent. No question about the fact that he deserves to be in the Packers Hall of Fame. I would contend that he probably won't long term, but probably should have an outside chance at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's how good he was. But I can't, say specifically there's a play that leaps to mind, but I do remember him being on Milwaukee radio somewhat kind of deep into his tenure and ripping on McCarthy's play calling and like telling him he needed to run the ball more. I always really appreciated that. As you guys know, you can find the Run the Fucking Ball t-shirt in our shop. I always appreciated him for that. No doubt about that. What else we got here, folks? Nicholas says, thanks to the super chat, man. I'm starting to question Dobbs' durability. That's ridiculous. He plays football. You get hurt playing football. You know who doesn't get hurt playing football? People who don't play football. This is ridiculous. Why do we do this every year with guys getting nicked up? It's, he's injury prone. You know who was injured a bunch his first 3 years in the league? Aaron Rodgers. Are you worried about his durability? Oh, and then, by the way, he kept getting hurt. You know why? Because he played football. Nonsense, I tell you. Nonsense. Menace, thanks to Super Chat, man. See the report on what Ballard's counter to Goody for JT? Think there was any truth to it? If so, Ballard is clearly clinically insane. Well, you got to take anything, reportedly coming out of those negotiations with a grain of salt. And you also have to remember, I doubt heavily that the ask on the Colts side was being driven by the general manager. I would put pretty decent money down that ownership is driving that. So, as far as what he's asking for, I had heard Watson in a first or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's like you're dealing with a dude in your fantasy league, which is what you would expect to hear from an owner, not an actual general manager. Jason, thanks for the super chat, man. I haven't been this excited for a season since we signed Reggie. Wow. That's old school right there. And yes, that was an exciting time. I just remember thinking when the whole kind of start of free agency was happening, and Reggie had been connected to the Packers. He had visited, and before he signed, I just remember thinking there was no way in hell it was ever going to happen. And then he signed, and yeah, the shock and then the excitement, that shit was real. That was a good time to be a Packers fan. Timothy, thanks for the super chat, man. Nags, I'm literally wondering if you think Luke Musgrave can be the most targeted tight end in Packers history, beating Finley's 92 targets this year. Timothy, I know they've been utilizing him a lot in preseason and in the practices this summer, but let's relax on 92 targets. His rookie year? That's a bit rich for my blood there, Timothy. But who knows? Let's wake up in January and he's got like 102 targets. But yes, no, I very, 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 very much doubt it. Carl, thanks again, man. Yeah, maybe edge was the wrong word. He seems like he's not editing himself as much when answering questions. Maybe he can be more himself now. I think there's definitely a part of that plays into it. No question about it, especially when you're talking about not having to edit yourself, because whatever you utter into that microphone is going to be printed out and put in front of people, both via the internet and via clips printed out, actually, handed to people. And the written word always comes across a little bit different than it does when you're speaking. And who knows who might be reading it, including a quarterback that leads your team. So, yeah, I think definitely it's part of it. Lewis, thanks to the super chat, man. With depth at edge, we send in waves at quarterbacks, man. Now you're talking my language, man. That's what I'm talking about. Something I just put up, I believe it was yesterday on Twitter. We were literally throwing out Tipa and Garvin. It's like edge 3 and 4 as recently as last year. And now you look down this depth chart, Enikbari, Smith, Gary, Hollins. Now you got Brenton Cox in the mix. Let's go. Let's go. Talk about waves. And you got the rookie, Van Ness. Who knows what you're going to get from him? Let's go, man. Let's go. Mimsy, thanks to Super Chat. Vikings are cursed. That Hawkinson contract, LMAO. Well, what's just weird to me is that why didn't they get that done right away, like when they traded for him? Obviously, he had his hold in, and now I'm sure his maladies have miraculously disappeared now that he's been paid. But yeah, that's real rich for my blood. But hey, Minnesota Vikings, you do you, and keep those tight ends happy, I guess. Jackie, thanks for the super chat. Thoughts on Malik in regular season? Well, I tell you what, depending on this Dobbs injury, maybe we see him a little bit more than we thought right out of the gate. I do think he's going to be used rotationally, but sparingly. I don't think you're going to see a ton of him early on, but I don't think any moment's going to be too big for him. And my suspicion would be he's out there a little bit to start, and he makes the most of those opportunities, and he will earn more opportunities and get in the mix more as the year goes on. It's just my guess right now. But I think between the Dobbs injury and the Wicks injury, I think he's got a chance to play a little bit there in week 1. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll get backside of this mini break, and we'll find out what the injury report looks like. I have a better idea in that regard. Mike, thanks for the super chat, man. First game ever was Green Bay, Tampa Bay Snowball game in 85. Yours, Mike, that's amazing. I remember very specifically sitting in my parents' living room in my footy pajamas, cross-legged on the floor, watching that game with that storm outside my window, thinking, I'm really glad I'm not at the game today. My first game ever was the Packers hosting the Lions in 1976. My grandpa took me, and we sat in his seats. And it's the earliest memory of my life. I was 3 years old. That is my first game. Ed, thanks for the super chat, man. Nelson catching the 60-yard pass from Rodgers to set up the winning field goal. Let's go. Let's go. Is that the one, Ed, are you talking about the one in Chicago? That one was dope. I was there, and it was windy as hell, and Jordy did an amazing job, like, tracking the ball, because that was a tough day to do so. No doubt about it. All right, everybody, I got to get going. I can't thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family, Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.